Hi, I'm Greg from the Dapper Man. I'm here with Luke from Rems Place here in Grand Junction, Colorado. And today we're going to be talking about humidors. All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about humidors, and there are two types of humidors. We're only going to be focusing on the kind of the stay-at-home humidor. You have travel humidors like this one. This is a 1 or 2 sticker. This one is what, a 5 to 10?
10 count.
10 count. We're not worried about these right now because you don't actually have to season these. So let's go ahead and put these aside. And we'll talk about my desktop humidor. Now this is my actual humidor from home. This is what, 100 count, 150 count probably?
Depending on the size of the cigar, yeah.
Yeah. And I have a bunch of cigars from the Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest that I want to keep at home. And this thing hasn't been seasoned for a while. It's been empty. So we're going to talk to Luke and figure out what we need to do to season it.
So you have to season a humidor anytime, either when it's brand new, you've got to season it, or if you let the humidor dry out, you've got to go back through the seasoning process. Pretty simple process. There's a couple of different ways to do it. Boveda makes some wipes that you can use. You wipe the inside of the humidor down, and then they've got some high humidity seasoning packs that you leave in there for about 10 days. Will bring your humidity level up and season your box that way. Or kind of the old school way to do it is just take some distilled water, clean cloth or sponge, wipe the inside down. Don't soak it, but get the wood damp. And what that does is brings your humidity level up faster. Otherwise, if you just throw your humidification unit in there, that dry wood is just going to absorb that moisture until it hits its saturation.
Okay.
It takes a long time to get stable.
So here in Grand Junction, we're high altitude, we're a desert. But how long does it take to season a humidor?
If you do it with the Boveda system, wiping it down with the wipes and then putting the packs in there, 10 to 14 days usually. If you do it the old school way with the cloth or sponge and distilled water, you can get it usually up there within a couple of days. You can also get it done a little faster. Some guys will take a little dish of distilled water and set it inside the box just to evaporate some water in the box and get your humidity level higher faster.
Okay. And once the humidor has been seasoned, we actually have, what are these things called?
Well, that's your humidification unit.
Okay. I have two types here. I have one that has some sort of bead in there. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the opposite of the silicone packs that you get in all your electronics that take all the humidity out of the air. This is the opposite.
Right. So rather than a desiccant, it's actually putting humidity into the box. More and more guys are going to this because I feel like it holds a little bit more water, mm-hmm. and you have a visual of when to refill it versus the old florist foam or sponge type. You just have to get on a scheduled regimen of filling that thing about once a week, mm-hmm. because you just don't know when it's dry.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these. I bought a couple, and the beads, when they fill up, they have a tendency to burst through. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a big fan of that. So
yeah, you gotta watch them.
I'm not, like I said, I don't like those. So what I use is this. It's actually from my humidor. And what I'll do is, we have the squeeze bottle over there.
Yes, the propylene glycol.
So what I do is this is just distilled water. I got a little squeeze bottle from Amazon, and just, let me go ahead and actually put it where you can see it. I just kind of squeeze it in there and let it sit for a while. If it leaks out, you just wipe it up.
Yeah, you can't overfill them, so you just want to get it good and saturated. Yeah. If you have excess, you can take a paper towel and kind of dab off that excess water before you put it in the box.
And this thing has been, again, dried for a while, so it can takes a lot of water, or it can take a lot of water.
Yeah.
And the propylene glycol, so what's the proper solution? Is it 50-50?
Most of the time this stuff is pre-mixed. Like, this is a pre-mixed formula, so it's a blend of propylene glycol and distilled water. Okay. And then sometimes they'll put an antifungal in there to prevent mold. Okay. So this is designed to squirt right onto the humidification unit itself.
So why don't we go ahead and put some on there? It won't hurt anything to mix them. I do recommend you keep an eye on these things. Once they start getting mold, throw them out. You don't want that mold to spread.
Yeah. If you get mold, definitely get it out of there before the mold gets in the wood grain of the box, because then it's a nightmare.
Okay, so let's go ahead and season this thing real quick. I'm gonna just drop this down.
While he's doing that, these are the Bovita packs that we were talking about. This is a disposable unit. You can see that it's got a gel solution in there. When it starts to flatten out and harden, it's time to replace it. Some guys, if they don't want to mess with the units that we showed you, they'll just buy these and replace them. I personally like something that I can refill because I don't want to keep throwing this stuff away.
Now, can you rehydrate those?
You can. It's a bit of a process, but they can be rehydrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you use distilled water or the solution?
You can just use distilled water. It does take a little bit of time. You've got to put it in a container that's high humidity. You can't just put water into these. They have to absorb the water. So it can take a couple of weeks to rehydrate those.
Yeah, what I recommend is put some water in like a Ziploc bag, put the Vita pack in there, and then just wait like it's a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, they don't just soak it up like these units do.
No.
It takes a little time for that chemical solution to absorb the water.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the humidor. This little black thing here would sit right up here. It's with some magnets. This here is a hydrometer.
Right.
And let's see if we can get a picture of it. It shows the temperature and humidity, current humidity. So right now it's 72 degrees and 36% humidity. So what's the proper temperature and humidity that we want to go
70
for?
and 70 ideally. It's, since you're keeping it in your house, the temperature can be a little bit tricky, but you can vary a few degrees either way and be okay.
Oops, let's go ahead and try to get a look inside the humidor. There we go. It's just Spanish cedar on the inside, and I have a little divider here so you can kind of keep your cigars separate. Usually take that out. And what I like to do, this is why I have the spray bottle. I prefer the spray bottle. So I'll go ahead and just spray a paper towel just to get it damp here real quick. Then just wipe out the humidor, kind of get any dirt, dust, or any tobacco that's fallen out. Get it out of there.
On a side note on the hygrometers, a lot of these humidors will come with an analog hygrometer. You'll notice that his is digital. The analog hygrometers are notoriously unreliable. You want to get rid of that and put a digital unit in it.
Absolutely. And now that like I said, I just wiped it out, kind of get all the dust out. I have pipe tobacco in here, so pipe tobacco doesn't need to be, I think it's 70 and 15% humidity. 70 degrees, 15, 20% humidity.
Yeah, it's quite a bit lower humidity. So if you put your pipe tobacco in your cigar humidor, you're going to over-humidify it a little bit.
So when you, just a side note, when you smoke that pipe tobacco, if it's been in here at the cigar humidity, just leave it out on like a paper plate or leave it out in the air for 10-15 minutes. It should dry up.
Yeah, where we live, it's no problem. If you live in a high humidity area, you may not even need to put it in your humidor.
Yeah. And that's also a good note, if you live in a high humidity area like Houston or Atlanta or pretty much anywhere in the South, you won't need as large of a brick because the natural humidity in the air should keep it pretty close to what you need.
And that's where the propylene glycol really becomes crucial in high humidity areas because it'll slow your evaporation down a little bit and keep your humidity from getting too high. Around here, it's not quite as critical because we need as much moisture as we can get usually.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's at 36%, to be honest. That's pretty good for us.
Yeah.
So what I do now is I just kind of spray it in here. I like to try to get everything. So I'll even go, I try to keep it inside as much as possible, but get the sides.
You can actually see the wood kind of changing colors as it gets damp. That's a good indicator. You don't want any standing water in the bottom of the box. You just want to lightly mist it.
Let me come over to the other side. All right, so like he says, the light mist in there. I will go ahead and take another paper towel, just kind of wipe everything down. This kind of spreads the water out a little more evenly. Don't want to break the humidor. Have to buy another one. You wouldn't mind?
No.
And your local tobacconist should have a large selection of humidors for you to look at. Just find one that you like aesthetically, one that will fit in whatever area that you're going to be putting this on. Obviously, if it's just for a desk, you want a smaller one. They even make giant cabinet humidors as well.
And you'll see them vary quite a bit in price, and a lot of that has to do with the type of veneer on the outside, whether it's an exotic wood, the size of the humidor, the quality of the hardware on the humidor, curved tops, glass tops, all will affect the price. But internally, they all work the same way.
Just putting a little more water in there because we are such a dry climate. And again, we'll just wipe it down.
There is one other type of humidifier that you can use. It's an electronic. You can get Cigar Oasis makes one. There's also one made by Quality Imports. You do have to have a little bit larger humidor. They're about the size of a brick, but they're nice. You only have to, even here in the desert, you only have to fill them about every 5-6 weeks. They've got an audible alarm to tell you when they need water. It's got a little digital readout, so you just set your humidity where you want it, and there's a little fan that kicks on and off and regulates the humidity. Yeah. Those are nice to have. They're a little bit spendy, but it's a good upgrade.
Yep. All right, here we go. This thing is full now. Oops, as you can see, I'm getting water everywhere. That's okay. All right, well, we have a question here. Derek?
How soon can you put cigars in there? How long will it take for it to actually get to what the temperature ratings are supposed to be at?
I like them to be at a stable 70% for at least a day. Once it stabilizes and you're sitting at 70% for 12 to 24 hours, usually you're good to go.
Yep. So what I'll do is, now that we actually have the brick in there, now that we have it all wiped down, I'm just going to close it up, let it sit for a while. I'll come back and check the humidity. It'll probably spike to probably, 80% or so.
Yeah, don't freak out. That's normal.
Yep. And I'll check it daily. It'll probably drop because we live in such a high altitude desert. Probably drop again, so I'll probably have to do this 1 or 2 more times. But once it's again at that 70% humidity, I can start putting sticks in here.
Ready to go?
Yeah. Luke, anything else you need to know about humidors?
I think that about covers it.
All right. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you do, please give us a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe. I think it's in the bottom right-hand corner now. I always forget where it is. You can follow the Dapper Man on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram at the Dapper Man US. And you can always come here to Grand Junction and go to Rems Place, and we'll be happy to help you out with any of your questions.
That's right.
All right. Talk to you later.
See ya.